What is going on, guys? Today we're going to go over my SITKA big game system. Couple disclaimers before we start. I go probably a week, maybe 2 weeks a year if I'm lucky, as I start to build some more vacation. I mainly archery elk hunt. I might start doing some other stuff, but this system is built for archery elk hunting, so your milder temperatures in that September time frame. I've gone twice so far. I went Colorado year one, and then Montana last year, and then I'll be in New Mexico or Colorado this year. And that's what this is built for. So if you're going into like those later rifle hunts, you might want to bulk up a little bit on the like puffy jackets and the heavier side. If you're in like August time frame for mule deer or something like that, this would probably still work for the majority of you, just because like you could always take clothes off. You can't really put more clothes on, right? So most of this stuff will work for a wide range of seasons out there. And if you're like me, I'm a whitetail hunter mainly, and then I head out west for a week or two a year. So this is a very basic system. It's probably the most cost-effective system I could find while still maintaining like some quality pieces. Obviously, like SITKA's quality, while still being on the like more affordable end. I don't have a lot of your more technical specific pieces that only serve very specific purposes. So another couple things. I'm in no way sponsored, not that I would assume that you guys would think that, but I paid for all of these myself, and then I haven't paid full price for anything that's on this rack here. So the reason I want to get this video out now is some sales for you guys to keep in mind, especially if you're going this year, let's say, right? You're watching this video because you want to see what pieces you might want to pick up for the coming season. Like, we just ended whitetail season, so a lot of this stuff, like take this piece for example, I paid $180 for it. It retailed for $280. This was because this puffy was on closeout right after the season was over because a new one had come out. So keep an eye out for those closeout sales, like clearance, things like that. Watch Camo Fire. That's a good one to watch. Every day they update with new deals from not just SITKA, but like a wide range of camo brands, and also like your cook stoves, pretty much backpacks for Mystery Ranch, like all kinds of stuff that you can get for quite a significant discount if you just check on there each day. And then some big sale dates you've got the like I said, the closeouts right now, Memorial Day in May, and then you've got July 4th is probably your last time to get any sort of major sale before the season starts. Another thing to keep in mind is watching the point systems. So Go Hunt, for example, I don't remember exactly which one of these pieces, but a couple of them I did pay, so I paid full price, but I got like 5 times points because of a sale they were running, and then I used that 5 times points towards other pieces of gear. So like, yes, I paid full price for one thing, but I might have gotten enough points that like it negated that for other sides, right? So for example, I think the Fanatic, which is, you'll see in the whitetail video, I think I got 5 times points on that, and I got like $160 or something to spend towards other things, and I was able to get a couple of the pieces here for like crazy off. So watch all that stuff. You can get your money to go a lot farther if you keep an eye on those sales and plan ahead. So starting with the system, right? We'll start with base layers, we'll get into the middle stuff, and then we'll go to the puffies. So base layer wise, I actually don't use SITKA base layers except for one of the pieces, but this is where I save some money. Mountain Ops has merino base layers. It's a super lightweight t-shirt. Wore it for 5 days. I have 2 of them, so I wore 5 days and 5 days in Colorado, and then 4 days and 4 days in Montana, and never, like, it didn't smell ever, which was super nice. Yeah, I mean, not much to say about it. Just super lightweight t-shirt, no stench, and serves as a good starting point for your system. Then the next things, in a way that I, especially the first couple seasons, saved a lot of money, is I used a lot of the stuff. So I played lacrosse and football growing up, and then I played lacrosse in college. I saved a lot of money by using the like synthetic base layers, your Nike, Under Armour, any of those type of things as my base layers for hunting, because they're relatively the same thing, and I already had them in my closet, and I think a lot of people that have played sports probably have something like this in their closet. So don't be afraid to just keep using those, right? Like a lot of the hunting stuff isn't all that different, and it's a base layer, so you're putting stuff on top of it, so it doesn't need to be camo by any means or anything like that. So don't be afraid to keep using that stuff. The first the first base layer I paid for was the Core Heavyweight. These are a super nice pair of pants. They feel like sweatpants almost on. They're really nice for sleeping in out west. I don't wear them a ton, just because the past couple seasons have been very mild. You could hike in these, like they breathe really well. They're the grid fleece on the inside, same as like the Core Heavyweight hoodie over here. But the past couple seasons were maybe upper 20s, low 30s in Montana for lows, up into the mid 60s as a high. And then Colorado was hot. Colorado was like low 40s as the low, but like up into the mid 70s during the day, at even higher elevation too. So this didn't get worn a ton. I basically just wore it to like get in my sleeping bag pretty much, but still nice to have, works well for like later seasons. Something I got during Christmas this year that worked really well for whitetail, and I'm going to assume is going to work well out west this year, is the merino base layers from Born Primitive. These are the heavies, just because like I said, I whitetail hunt the most of the time, and these are going to work for the longest portion of the season for whitetail hunting. But they're going to work out west too. So they weren't crazy expensive. I got them as Christmas gifts, but yeah, I mean, very basic merino stuff. That's kind of what Born Primitive's come to be known for, is just like very basic things that are solid colors that you could wear across the board. So don't be afraid to start looking at that kind of stuff too. They offer some first responder discounts that are really nice. So keep that stuff in mind. They don't fit super snug like some of your sports orientated base layers do. So it's a little looser in the chest and looser in the belly, tight in the arms, which is very nice and the pants are a little baggier. They're snug but not tight. So for when you're hiking around and stuff like that, it's not constricting by any means. So starting in the SITKA stuff. First thing we've got is the Ascent Pants. The Ascent Pants are basically like a mesh pair of pants almost. They've worked really well for the first couple seasons here where I was in super warm conditions. Even the colder days, I would wear these. A lot of times I would wear the mountain pants in the morning, and then if we were back at the truck midday, then I would toss the Ascent Pants on. If not, I'd just toss like a base layer under the Ascent Pants, or just start hiking right after I put them on and I was warm within a couple of minutes. But the majority of the day, these were really nice. They breathe really well, and if you're sweating, then you'll dry off fairly quickly. They've got the rubber like stays on the inside that keep your pants up that SITKA's kind of known for. Other than that, a fairly standard pair of pants. I think they've got the knee pad pockets in them. Maybe not. No, they do. So you can put the knee pads in these. I don't like the knee pads, so I don't use them. Just because for me, where these fall on my legs, they fall like almost on my like calves. So like the front of my ankles pretty much. So they don't really work as knee pads very well for myself. And I just don't like hiking with that stuff on the front of me. So I don't use them, but you could use them in these if you want to. Next up, if I had to choose one pant to do it all, like if you just wanted to buy one pair of pants and be done, I bought the mountain pants for the first season when I went to Colorado, and these have worked very, very, very well. They're a little hot during the later in the day, but early in the mornings, these are great. They're a little thicker, a little heavier weight pant, definitely than that, more your typical pant. One thing to note about the Ascent too is it's an athletic fit, so it's tighter in the thighs and it tapers down to the ankle. So if you're someone who's maybe a bigger guy or doesn't like that like snugger fit of pants, then you'll want to go with the mountain. These fit more like a standard jean, I would say. Like if you have like a straight fit jean, that's what I would compare these to. They've got your typical cargo pockets, and then there's some zipper pockets on the outside of the cargo pockets. The same rubber stays to keep your pants up. You got a pocket on the butt, you got some hip pockets too that are zippered, and these also take the knee pads. So in general, if you wanted to do it all type of pant, this is the pant I would go with. Next is, as we get into the upper body stuff, this is probably the piece that SITKA is most known for and that most people probably buy first, and that's the core lightweight hoodie. It's got the face mask that everyone loves. I don't use it a ton just because I have a really fat head. Like on snapbacks, for example, I only use the last 2 buttons on the snapback. So if you have a fat head like I do, this will probably not be the most comfortable thing for you. A lot of times if I want to use the actual face mask, I'll just leave it around my neck and then toss it up over my nose. If I have a hat on and I toss this thing over the top, then it just smushes everything down and gets really, really tight, especially when you have like the bino harness and everything on that doesn't let the hoodie kind of go up with you. It will not be very comfortable. Other than that, it's fairly basic. It's got a chest pocket. It's got the little thumb loops, and I use this a lot. I wear it pretty much every day when we're out west, and then scouting and stuff for whitetail or putting up cameras in the summer, I'll toss it on just to keep ticks and stuff off my body. I'll toss some Sawyer on there, and then it makes it where you can hike through. A lot of stuff by me is swampy, so there's quite a few ticks, mosquitoes, that kind of stuff, and over the summer especially. But this will keep all that stuff off you if you toss some Sawyer on there, which is really nice. Next up, mid-layer wise, this is where I would say you can start to save a lot of money by looking at sales, and just by choosing a piece that doesn't have all the technical features maybe that some of the higher end stuff does. So this is the core heavyweight hoodie. It's the most basic mid-layer that they offer. I know you've got things like the ambient hoodie and the Apex hoodie and that kind of stuff that maybe has a kangaroo pocket and a face mask or a little heavier weight or that kind of thing. But this, if you want just like a do-it-all, you could toss it on in the morning and hike your day in it, strip it when you want to. But it's very basic, no kangaroo pocket, no nothing. You got the thumb loops. It's the grid fleece material, so it breathes really well. And it's got a half zip all the way down to like the middle of your chest. And the hood kind of zips up to almost have a face mask to it, where like you literally will only have like your little eye holes peering out of it. This hood fits a little better with a bigger head, so I wouldn't be afraid to use this necessarily. But I bought this for $120, I want to say, because it retails for $160, and then you can find it on sale pretty much every single time that SITKA offers sales, versus the Apex, the Ambient, all that kind of stuff is $200 plus. So this could be a spot where you could save quite a bit of money for yourself. Next up, puffy-wise, this, I talked a little bit about it earlier, but this is the Kelvin Lite hoodie. It got discontinued a couple of years ago, but the Kelvin Aero Lite is what is the comparable successor to it. So it's relatively the same like lighter weight puffy, so it's only, I think like 80 or 100 grams of insulation versus like 200 plus with some of your heavier weight puffies here. This hood is definitely too small for a big head, so don't expect to use this one. I mean, you could in a pinch, but it's not the most comfortable thing. It's got the hood has a cinch on it, so it can cinch up on you. I obviously don't need to use that. It's got the chest pocket, the belly pockets, and then the waistband cinches up inside of the belly pockets, which is nice to have. And then at the end of the cuffs here, it's got some stretchy material, so it stays nice and tight on your cuff. It stays out of the way of like drawing a bow and shooting and that kind of thing. This is something I would hike in. It's light enough that you can. I did it a couple of times in Montana when it was a little colder. And you can still wear it to camp too. I mean, it's plenty warm enough. I've worn this for a lot of days over the last couple of years with even like whitetail hunting. It's not, I don't know how well you could hear it, but it's not as loud as like a typical puffy. So I'm not afraid to toss it on in the stand. It rubbing on stuff isn't loud enough to bust anything. So yeah, this is a good do-it-all piece for whitetail and for big game. And then finally, for insulation, I've got the Born Primitive Tundra Jacket. I bought this before Montana this year because I knew that Montana was going to be a little colder and had the possibility of getting quite a bit colder just on some temperature swings than Colorado did. So I bought something that was heavier just to have in the truck. I wore this at camp a lot and I wore it to bed because I was able to use like a lighter weight sleeping bag and then just toss this thing on. It was great. It's pretty basic. It's got just full length zip like a normal jacket does. You've got chest pocket, a couple belly pockets, and then some pockets inside. And then the big feature for this thing though is it's got pit dumps, so you can open the armpits from right about here to right about there, and it'll just dump heat for you right in the spot that you probably build up the most heat and start to sweat. This hood is actually big enough that if you got a big head like me, it will fit you. So if you're looking for a jacket, I think they have a light version of this. This might be an option compared to something like this if you really do like using that hood. And it's also got some abrasion resistant elbows, so there's like some Cordura or like heavier weight nylon that is on the elbows here that keep it a little more abrasion resistant. Yeah, this thing was a little cheaper too than some of your other puffy stuff, probably half price honestly, after you factor in some like first responder discounts or just any of the other discounts they offer. Born Primitive does quite a few sales too. Finally, we'll go into a couple of boots that I wore. The Crispy Colorado was a good boot for me. I wore it in Colorado and then I wore it in Montana a little bit. I ended up switching them out just because of how stiff they were. My feet were starting to hurt and I realized the flex on these is just too stiff for me. It's a 4 flex, which is fairly stiff. I thought I needed that because my ankles are pretty bad. Through sports throughout the year, I've rolled my ankle more times than I can count, and I broke my right ankle, I believe it was, like a couple of times. So I thought I needed a really stiff boot. Turns out I didn't. I just needed a little bit more support. These fit like a glove, and I love that. The fit on these is great. They really, like, the profile of it just fits my foot well. It's a little wider in the toe box, so it leaves some room up there, and it locks my heel down, but the sole itself is just too stiff for me, and it made the balls of my feet hurt quite a bit, even with changing the insoles out. So if you're someone who likes stiffer boots, these will probably be for you. They just weren't for me. I'm going to switch to like a Laponia or an Altitude this year to try something a little bit lighter weight and a little bit more flexible. And the boots I switched to were these here. So I had these from pheasant hunting and a bunch of other stuff even before I got into deer hunting, but the Danner pronghorns, they're probably not as quality as they used to be. I know Danner stuff used to be fantastic, and now some of the other boot manufacturers have gotten a little more durable, and these are great. They're really flexible. They're a little hot just because they're full leather. I like the synthetic stuff just because they breathe really well, and I get hot feet. So these were hot, but they didn't hurt my feet, so all I had to do was just air them out a little bit. So I wore these for the second half of Montana, and then I had no foot issues whatsoever. So if you're going out there for the first time, I mean, these are something you shouldn't look past. They're a lot cheaper than some of the other boots. I think the lighter weight Crispies are probably comparable in price after sales, but you can get sales on the Danners too and get them for like sub $200. So don't look past these. They do work very well. They'll be a little hot, but they will work for you out there. All right, guys, that's the full system. Some things to keep in mind, just like I said and hit on quite a bit, is look for sales. It'll help you guys out quite a lot when it comes to saving yourself some money and being able to put that either towards some additional pieces of gear, or maybe you're like me and you're a whitetail hunter for the most part and you go out west a couple times. So maybe you could save some money by putting that stuff into your whitetail system that you might use a little bit more. So keep an eye out for the whitetail video. That'll come out next week. And then, yeah, that'll be it, guys. Drop a comment if you have any questions or want to see maybe a short or something with a little more in-depth detail on some of this stuff. Any questions, leave them below, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.